Then you got all your families in the compound.
Oh no! Don't say compound.
I know. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Because it's not a mansion until you have enough money. Like, if you're not making millions, it's a compound.
Don't say compound. Don't say commune.
No, if you got houses, around your house, that's basically a compound or a commune.
I'm not comfortable with this anymore.
Hey, I'm very comfortable with this conversation.
What was that face, Breezy?
It's an interesting conversation. Joseph Smith.
Yo, I don't want to make any smoke. All right.
I don't want no smoke with Joseph Smith, though. And none of his homies. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Slightly Less Than Perfect. As always, I'm with the ridiculous Ryan and the bombastic Breezy, and we're here. I was gonna say we're queer, but we're not. We're not queer. I mean, nothing wrong with that. We support the queer population, but not us. But today I'm doing things a little bit different. Before we get into the out of pocket, I want to say a thank you to We want to say a thank you to everybody. Like, we've been podcasting for a month now. We got 7 episodes out by now.
Today is 6.
No, today's it. Yeah. Today launches 6 online, and then we're recording episode 8 as we speak right now. And want to say a big thank you to everybody, all the people that's been supporting us, helping us out till now, and all the people that will gain in the future. And if you listen to this 5-6 years from now, we're already billionaires.
Once again, shout out to Brussels.
Shout out to Brussels, man. We really appreciate you. We had a couple more international download streams from Eastern Europe, so big shout out to Europe. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Which I have a lot of love for, because my wife's family's from England, so Europe's been good to me, so I appreciate you guys. And then another mini announcement, we decided to switch up Retro Rewind to become a little mini series, so we're going to do that. That's going to be separate. So if you guys want to hear us review certain movies or whatever, just give us a shout, let us know. We do have a couple that we're going to be doing that Breezy has set up for us, because he's kind of been the mastermind behind the Retro Rewind. But going forward, we'll never know what's going to happen. We did a one for Akira, old school anime, if you guys are into that or not. And then the next movie we're going to be doing is, what is it called?
Grave of the Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies, Studio Ghibli, which I'm a huge fan of. Haven't seen that one, but I'm a huge fan of Studio Ghibli just in general. All right. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I have something for all the new people here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a riddle. I'm going to give you a riddle, and at the end of the episode, I give you an answer to the riddle. If you get the riddle right, you got the riddle right. Kudos to you. Live your life. But if you get the riddle wrong, you got to subscribe to us on whatever you listen to us on. You listen to us on YouTube, give us a subscribe. If you listen to us on Spotify, give us a review, a like, say what up to us, ask us how we're doing, and wherever else you're listening to at it. Just, give us a little shout. So, let me give you guys the riddle too. I am used in every major sport, and I have 4 holes in me. What am I?
It's funny. Once you said used in every major sport, my first thought was naturally a condom.
A human.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. So these guys don't have the right answer. Well, we'll get back to that.
Because you use the players are being used for their God-given talents. If you got 4 holes, you got more than 4 holes. Never mind.
7.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, back to our regular schedule program.
Don't ask me how I know.
Yeah. So we're going to get right into the out of pocket. All right, this is one, I read a couple of them today, but this one stuck out to me. In my out of pocket for not telling my parents I got promoted and earned more when I could be helping more around the house.
I think I know what the riddle is, but go on. I'm not going to say it till the end of the show.
End of the episode. You got half an hour 45, bruh. All right, so this out of pocket was a real shank and a twist and kind of a roller coaster. It was interesting though. All right, 22-year-old female lives with her parents, 50-year-old mom, 52-year-old dad, and 2 brothers, 18 and 19 boys. Since I turned 18 and started working, 50% of my salary goes to my parents to help out around the house. I earn about $1,100 a month, and $550 is taken for them. The rest is for me to spend how I want. I had the sweet illusion that they would do the same for my brothers when they started working, and was irritated to learn that the 2 of them paid nothing at home. When I confronted my parents, they said that they earn little because they are intern, about $600 a month, give or take. And they would barely have enough money if they paid half. I mentioned the idea of paying less because I wanted to have some more money for myself. But for several reasons that I won't mention, ADD, health related, my parents' house is adapted for me. It's not that easy for me to move, so I accept it even though that I was annoyed. It's been about 3 months since I was promoted and my salary's doubled and I earned about $2,200 a month. I know if I mentioned to my parents that I got promoted, they will ask for an increase of my contribution, and I'm still pretty upset that they don't charge my brothers, so that I don't comment on my schedule or anything's being changed. I don't have an exorbitant expensive, and I'm saving enough so that I can actually move out and live on my own and make the necessary adaptations to a place that I would get on my own. My parents aren't in the best financial situation. They are tight, but they insist on not charging my brothers. That money would make the difference. They asked if I can pay 60%, but I said that an agreement was 50% and stressed again that the other 2 children also work. Well, recently my mother couldn't get through to me on my phone and called the place where I worked and asked to pass a message. And the lady that answered the phone must have said something similar to like, I can pass the message on to the manager. My parents questioned me, and despite trying to deny it, they found out that I'm earning twice as much and charged me the 50%, $1,100. When I said no because it's unfair, they invited me to leave the house. And since I was not doing what was agreed on, that I can just leave and be done with it. I don't think they thought I would go. I'm at my friend's house. It's not easy. And I just paid for the 2 weeks that I was there, $275. My parents questioned me despite trying to deny. Oops, I read that part. Since leaving, they've been bombing me with saying that they need me to pay the $550 for moving out, or they move back and paying more, and they're super tight. And I caused a whole fight by lying to them and not helping out around the house anymore, knowing that they were tight. Am I out of pocket?
Nah.
Thankfully, no. You're not out of pocket anymore.
Nah.
Good for you.
Got some more gaslighting in this story too.
That money.
I love the gaslight because I love your faces with the gaslight,
I'm
bro.
so sick of the gaslighting.
Dude, they're all gaslighting stories. They like pretty much all the ones I find are some type of gaslighting.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, like I get it. Cause like I thought about this from like her point of view, and I thought about it from the parents' point of view, like being the parents. And it's like, as a parent, it was your decision to have kids. So like they have any disabilities or whatever, like you need to compensate and like figure that out. And like I get it, she was helping out and assisting, whatever, but you can't bully her into paying half of her money to pay your bills. Because that's not half of her money. Because like whatever's additions needed to be done to the house or whatever, like I get it if she needed to pay for those additions to be done. You needed some help with that. But like after they got done, like why is she still paying your bills?
Yeah. I mean, like how much could it have actually possibly costed when you're getting $550 a month in recompense for it? So I'm like, if the parents said to her, you know, if you're feeling froggish, jump. And she jumped. And story's over there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, then they start blowing her phone up. It's like, oh, you need to come back and pay us the money to live back at our house so we can keep bitching at you and not move out and be on your own. It's like, how do you sound? Like the audacity of people to just say shit like that. Like, move back in my house and pay me money.
People only can say that to like family members that they've programmed in that way. They kind of have a existing relationship, so they're foisting abuse on her based on that existing relationship.
In the moment she says like, nah, bro, I'm good. I'm just gonna keep my $2,200, pay my friend the $300 that she wants to like. Just for whatever, for me being here, and save the rest of my money for a little bit, and go buy a house.
Oh, now they're thinking, how do we manipulate her now?
Like you caused a fight by being independent.
That part pissed me off, and the other part too is that she's the daughter and like the 2 boys, because that's a lot of stuff I've read too. Is just like there's completely different expectations for like sons and daughters, and just.
Especially oldest daughter. She the oldest daughter?
Yeah. Okay. And I'm just like, your kids are your kids. And like, I get it. Like, you know, they may have different responsibilities around the house. Like, you know, somebody washes the dishes, someone takes the trash out, or whatever. But it's like, your kids are your kids. Like, they're even playing field.
I've seen it firsthand the one who is the screw up genuinely gets so many free passes at life compared to the one who's more responsible. Like people for some reason don't have morals when it comes to their kids. Like when it comes to like how they treat their kids. Like the one who's actually performing well, they'll put that performance on that kid and expect them to perform even better, to pay even more, just like this situation.
Yeah.
Paying more of the fair share because she can. But they don't put any sort of, boundaries on this
right. The other kids, I mean, you could have literally, she's paying $550, knock hers down to $300 and give the other two like boys $100 each. Because it's like,
that would solve it.
Yeah.
And that's easy money. Yeah. And that's like, my thing is like, if you can't afford $100 a month, what are you doing with your life? Like at 18, 19, like whatever you're doing, like work a little bit more or figure something out. Because like if you're 18, in my thought process, you've graduated high school and like you may be going to college or you may not. Whichever way it is, like you should be able to afford $100 a month to do something.
Yeah, and that's what the rent is for when it comes to younger people anyway. It's to because really in a lot of cases you don't need it, but it's to enforce them to do something with their lives so that they aren't just laying about doing nothing. Because if you got a kid who's there just laying about doing nothing, yeah, you got to get out and do something. So I'm gonna put this rent on you. If you can't do it, we got to figure something out.
Right, because me and Sophie talked about it, like with Emma and stuff, like just not joking around necessarily, but like coming up with ideas for like the future or whatever. And I was like, when she gets to like of age, I would like to charge her some rent, but not necessarily to keep it, but just like to throw it in a savings account. So she's like 18 and she lives with us till she's like 24 and she gives us like $300-$400 a month. So when she goes to move out, she has like 10 grand that she can either use for a down payment for a house, or if she just wants to get an apartment, like her apartment's paid for like a year and a half, well, probably like 3 months by that time, way things are going.
So hopefully my nephew doesn't watch this, but that's actually my plan with my nephew, just to keep him motivated, but also I'll have something for him once he's ready to get his car and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing too. Like I like how Sophie did. Her parents did it. The way her parents did it was like they just double it up. So like whatever money you saved up, they would just put that money in there. So I think Sophie was like, she had like $3,000 or $4,000 when she did her car. So they matched her $4,000. So she was able to get an $8,000 car. And it's like stuff like that I like to do, because it's like, it gives you an incentive to work hard, but you're also rewarding them for their hard work. And it's like, I love stuff like that. Cause it's like, you're teaching them, cause I just want to find ways to teach Emma the lessons that I learned without learning it the way I learned it.
Exactly. That's how I feel too.
Because we like that shit hard mode.
I was actually against having kids stay with me once they turned 18, because I was like, okay, I got kicked out when I was 18. They could do the same thing. But now I'm like, I look at how other people do it. I'm like, nah, I wouldn't do that to my kid.
Because the more you think about it, it's like, when you're 18, like you're an adult, but it's like you're not an adult. Like you're legally an adult, but it's like, you don't understand completely how the world works. And like, to be honest, we don't understand completely how the world works now. But it's like, if you just, like we talked about before, like you just need a hand up and not necessarily a hand out. It's like kicking someone out at 18 versus like giving them like 2, maybe 3 years to just figure shit out. Yeah.
Because I honestly wish I had that. Rent even when I was 18 was like $450. Like it wasn't too bad. I could afford it on a Sears salary at $6 an hour minimum wage, so I could afford rent at that time. It was hard. I had to eat weird shit, but it would have been helpful, because I lost that apartment like a year later. So it would have been helpful to like have like a grace period where I could pay less, save money more. I could have had a car a lot sooner. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. So.
Yeah, because the thing about it, it compiles, because it's like it's not necessarily like the one thing that you could or couldn't do. It's like, then you can't do this, then you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this. And then like, mentally you're just taking a beating the whole time too, because it's like
everything falls on you.
Yeah, and it's like you may or may not be. Some people are built different and they can like adapt and figure that shit out, or some people turn into a life of crime. Like, it's so many different ways for that shit to play out. Yeah. But it's like, if you could have just adjusted all of that by like just having them be at home for another year, year and a half, it's like, would that really, at the end of the day, like in the entirety of your life, would another year and a half really be that bad?
No.
Yeah. And another thing is, the parents have to be on their ball first too, in order to be able to give their kids that sort of hand up. Because a lot of situations where, and it sounds like in this situation, where the parents aren't stable financially themselves, And if you've got the kind of parents who see their children as an extension of their own powers, where like, okay, I have a child, so that child is going to work for me, and their money is my money, you know, and parents may have any sort of, you know, reasoning behind justifying that, like, oh, well, you're living in my house, therefore your money is, half of your money belongs to me. And the real thing is that the parents aren't making enough money themselves to be able to handouts, right? To be able to, not handouts, but to be generous. And maybe sometimes the parents can just be greedy and just like, hey, you got money? I'm your parent. Yoink.
That sounds like a little mixture of this one. But I actually worked with a guy where his parents are like that too. They just had like just low paying jobs, and like he was when I was a manager, he was one of my supervisors. And he was making more money, he got promoted, and like, you know, he got himself a new truck, you know, higher insurance and like car payment, whatever. And like he was always asking people for money. I'm like, bro, you work 45, 50 hours a week. Like, you work just as much as I do. Like, I know you don't make as much as I do. Like, you make decent much money, and like all you have to pay is like your car note and like your phone. What's going on? He's like, oh yeah, well, I help my parents pay for like the gas, electricity, the house note. And I'm like, if you paying for gas, electricity, water, and a house note, I'm like, what are your parents paying for? And I'm like, again, like that was one of the things. Like, I always told people, I'm like, family are not toxic people, are toxic people. And I was like, you need to move out or do something like and get rid of your parents. Because I hate the argument that people always say, like, well, family is family. I don't give a fuck. Like, if they're toxic and they're draining you, like, get rid of them. Because I'm like, dude, like, you can't pay your car note and your car insurance because you're paying for the house note for your parents, which is what you could be paying for your own apartment. You know what I mean? Like, you granted, like, you know, apartments aren't the best thing in the world, but at the same time, it's like, you're paying for everything that your parents have, plus everything that you have. And like, the only argument is like, well, like you were saying, like, you live in my house, you whatever, or like, you know, we need help, whatever. And I get wanting to help your parents, but it's like,
you gotta make it make sense, man.
Your parents have to help themselves too, as well. Like, you know, with anybody, like, you can't overextend yourself to help them if you can barely like wipe your own ass.
So realistically, if you have a kid who's an adult, at this point we're both adults. So parents got their life, so they you know, they want their space. You know, whenever you have another adult in your space, that's a big ask. So the best thing you can do as two adults is to pull together to help each other out, to make the space easier for both people.
Agreed.
So in this case, you can ask for something to just alleviate things. Something that covers their presence here, but also makes things a little bit easier for everybody. And there's things that you can offer them. There's things they can offer. It's a mutual relationship. So as long as these things are met equally, I don't think you need to ask for too much. And it doesn't even take much to cover, you know, certain things. Like, just having somebody there isn't that much of a tax on it. It depends on who they are. Some people,
I mean,
they use like a lot of heat or whatever. But for the most part, having another person in your house doesn't take away too much, I would say.
No, I agree with that.
So anything they add is a huge bonus, I would say.
Yeah,
for the most part,
It's so weird that, like, you know, that like there's so many of those stories like that where like the parents are just like essentially mooching off the kids for like no real rhyme or reason, and this is like, bruh, like, why? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, just all these things. And it's crazy to me because like one of the reasons I moved out because like my mom, love her to death, but like she still saw me as a kid when I was like 21. So she's like, well, you can't be out to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, you can't be doing this. You can't be drinking. You can't be doing this, whatever. I'm like, Mom, like, I'm grown. Like, I live here, but like, I'm still an adult. And like, that was just the back and forth, whatever. So I just moved out. And then, you know, later on we talked about it, and I was just like, I didn't really want to move out. Like, I couldn't really afford it, but I made it work. But it was like, you made it difficult to be there because you kept having me do kid stuff. Like, I get it, I'm 17, 18, but I'm like, when I'm 20, 21, and you telling me like I have like a curfew, it's like, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah. That's just the natural progression too, because sometimes you have to have that conflict too, because there's people who live with their parents forever, and it is a good scenario where you can save money, because realistically we live in a time where everything's so damn expensive.
So expensive.
I wouldn't wish single life on anybody, just because you gotta work like 2 or 3 jobs to make stuff make sense sometimes. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like if you're 18 and you're just moving out, get some roommates. You got to get some roommates to make that make sense. Mm-hmm. It's not ideal because you can't trust everybody, but the way things are looking out here, you definitely need that support just to save money in the long run. Because if you start saving money now, you can move out eventually to a better place.
Right.
But it's a lot harder if everything's on you all the time.
Yeah.
You're more likely to stay in the same place.
Well, those are things there too. I was talking about that. We got lucky too, because I've heard horror stories about people moving out.
Me too.
I was like, I've lived with like essentially my brother, and my wife. Like there's only other people like I've lived. I mean, don't get me wrong. We had some Reggie's heads stay with us at points in times, but like overall, it was just like me and you and me and self. And I was like, shit. I was like, it was cool. I'm like, we butted heads like maybe once or twice about some shit, but then we end up drinking and laughing about it. So like, it wasn't even anything. But people have some horror story, even when like siblings or like your people's best friends and stuff, and they're just like, this shit happened. I'm like, I could be me.
Yeah.
It's a lot of out of pockets.
A lot of out of pockets. Like I don't know.
No, I'm just glad you guys are all like, no problems at all whenever shack up with you guys.
Yeah, it's just like, but it's like, just why do the nonsensical garbage? Like, just simple conversation solves most things, and just don't be fucking gross.
Don't be gross. Be considerate. Care about the person that stays with you. Be interested. Stay out each other's way when
Care about the house. Pull your weight.
Yeah, simple enough.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, and this out of pocket actually goes into the topic of today, which was loyalty and love. Because I was listening to a Big Sean song, and like a lot, that's like one of his big themes. Like all his themes is like loyalty and love. And like the funny is the story that I thought about, like when I was thinking about it, was actually about your brother. So people that don't know, Breezy's brother, local rapper, Ant P. Check him out if you get a chance. I actually started listening to his podcast, his 15th, 16th, whatever.
Which one? Yeah. He got
the
3
most
right now.
The most known unknown. Like I started listening to that one.
That's what I've been listening to. Yeah.
Because it popped up on my feed the other day, and I was like, shit, I haven't started listening to it yet. So I was listening to it, and it just reminded me of one of the first times I met Ant, and it was the definition of loyalty, because my definition of loyalty is like a brother of a brother is a brother to me. So like for people that don't understand it, it's like if the people that I keep close in my inner circle, I trust them to, like, if they bring someone around me, that I can trust them. Like I don't have to second guess it. I don't have to worry about them. Like I don't have to vet them or anything. I just know who they. I don't necessarily know who they are, but I already know what they're about. And the story starts with Ant was actually on one of my ex-girlfriend's birthdays, and it's like this was probably the second or third time I had seen Ant, but I get to the party late because I had to work, went home, shower, whatever, and I went from one side of town all the way to the other side of town for her birthday. And the first thing he says to me to walk in is like, it's this dude here, and he's like, I don't really fuck with him, and he's been around your girl. He's like, I've been keeping an eye on him. He ain't did nothing crazy, but I just want to let you know. And in that moment, I was taking it back because I was like, damn, bro, like, I don't even know you like that. But it was just like, it was just but at the same time, it was like just such an appreciation, because it's like, our relationship was nothing at that point, but it's like, he understood my relationship with you and your relationship with him, and I understood his relationship with you. And in that moment, I was just like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. My brother's my brother. And so like throughout that night, he was just giving me like updates, feedback, whatever. And he was just keeping an eye out for me and like keeping an eye out for her. And like later in that night, it was the dude we was talking about was her ex-boyfriend. He came and like we were cool. Long, messy ass story with that I'm not gonna get into today. But later on that night, he ends up trying to talk to her when we're leaving, whatever, that gets kind of messy, whatever. And then like Ant handles the situation and like kind of smooths the situation for out. And then like, you know, in my mind, it's like, he didn't have to do that because it's like, I've known this man like a total of 15 hours in my life. And it was just like one of those things. It's like loyalty is loyalty. And then later, like me and dude ended up getting into a fight or whatever. And then I'm calling you at like 3, 4 ass fucking o'clock in the morning to talk me off a cliff because I was about to beat the shit out of him. Yeah. And it's like, that took me into like, what it means to be a man. And it's like my definition of being a man is loyalty and love, because it's like the people that you care about. And it's like at the end of the day, like all you need is loyalty and love. Like, you know, your relationships with like your significant other, friends, family, like the people that are close to you, like, it's like all you need is loyalty and love. Like everything else, any other emotion, whatever, you can like chop it up to however you want to. But it's like those were like my two that I came down to. So that brings me to my question, like, what are you guys' definition of like being a man? Like, what is your, if you had to sum it up to like a couple things, couple phrases, couple words, or like have to really simplify it to like your definition of like what a man is?
That's a good question.
It is.
That's a good question. You sprung that on me. I got to think about that one.
Yeah, because that one was, it's been weighing heavy on me a bit because I've been, like since we started the pod, I've been looking at like different podcasts from like all different walks of life. And I went down and found some of the super chat bro podcasts and a super alpha female podcast and like everything in between adjacent. And it's like, it's been pissing me off because it's like, you get the super alpha bros talking about like, you can't show any weakness. You have to be strong at all times. You can't show any vulnerability. You have to be super strong at all time. And you get these super alpha women, like the man needs to make 6 figures and he needs to take care of me, pay my bills, do my kids, take care of my kids' stuff and all this, whatever. Okay. And then it's like, in the midst of that, I found a couple women that are like, I don't want to call them anti-feminist, but like they're definitely more in the camp of
they're traditional women.
Yeah, more or less like on the male side of like because there's one girl I found, her channel is called Roma Army, and she's very much on the side of male camp, like male mental health, mental health. She's an advocate for like sexual assault victims, like male victims, and she's just like she's a advocate for like everything, like male and female, but she really pushes towards like the misunderstood message of like the male aspect of everything. Oh yeah. So like going against like she targets like the super alpha feminists that are always talking about like men that have been sexually assaulted and like telling like, you know, calling them liars, or like the women that talk about men need to take care of all the bills and pay all these things, do whatever. And so she's like, she takes those videos and like picks them apart. Gotcha. With like, she's real sassy with it, but like factual. She's real factual, but real sassy with it. Yeah. But she's also like a victim herself of like sexual assault, abuse, like all these other things that like in a typical scenario, she would be the perfect person to be like anti-man, everything. Gotcha. So that's why I think she's a very good advocate, like a very good person to have to like speak about it. So like I've been like it's just been a wild roller coaster of rides of like my feeds, my social medias are super, because it's like the super toxic, like the Andrew Tate's super bro stuff, and then like these super alpha females and like this. You other really stuff can't escape it, honestly, because that stuff's been on my feed too, and it's inescapable. But honestly, there's a lot rolled into that question, because I got my idea of what, like, you know, what a man looks like, what my ideal sort of being would be, but I also have the idea like what would be good for society. Those are two different things, honestly, because my ideal sort of being in terms of manhood is like a solitary, quiet ass kicker type guy who's like, you know, he's prepared for basically Batman, but but in terms of like a good, just a general good guy for society, like, you know, somebody who's a good dad, who's a good leader. That's just a guy who's he's self-confident, he has passion. He has passion in all walks of life, whether it be if he has children,
it's his children, whether it be his hobbies. He's passionate about his hobbies.
No, you can't have passion. That's too feminine. Allegedly.
No. Passion and patience. That's, to me, that's like the ideal guy.
Patience is a big one too.
Because passion, it encompasses all. I would even say love is included in that. But then the patience part is where you could be a good teacher. You could teach, the generations after. You could teach, the women in your life, the kids in your life. That sort of thing. You got the patience to learn new skills, to better yourself.
Which is important, like for anything. It's like being every day is a school day. Like you can learn something from anywhere and anybody.
Yeah. So if I just had like a 2-word, like a little slogan, passion and patience.
Passion and patience.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think the answer to that, to what it means to be a good man or a good woman too, because I think they're actually, in essence, they're the same thing, is the same answer for what it takes to be a good adult, which is just being responsible for whatever duties you have. Like, if you're a parent, you got to be a good father or mother. If you're a caretaker of someone else, like if you're caretaking for your own parents or something and they need you to caretake for them, being a good caretaker for them. If you're a lover, being a good partner to that person. If you're a CEO, being a good leader of a company. Like anything that you do, any responsibility that you have upon your shoulders, being a good man or woman is just taking care of those responsibilities responsibly. And you can just attach that to any responsibilities you can think of. Like just being able to take on duties and put your first foot forward in completing them always, with all your passion and power. If you are able to do that, then no one can tell you that you're not a real man or woman in no situation.
I like that. Because that's one of the big things they keep going back on the podcast. It's always like men can't show any femininity, and like the things that they list as femininity are just like just ridiculous. And then like the things that count as toxic masculinity, like Breezy, you said being like just being self-confident or whatever. Like one of the things I saw is like being confident, like too much confidence is toxic masculinity. And it can be. And the guy argued that he's like, it's not toxic masculinity, it's just masculinity. And they were trying to like, the guy was arguing the point of like, what is masculinity versus toxic masculinity? And like, I'm a
good question.
Butcher this.
I think,
but I'm gonna butcher this, but he more or less said that like the modern woman and what they think is toxic masculinity is just masculinity.
You're right.
And it's just like, it's just misunderstood for the fact, because like one of the girls I was watching too, Pearl, she was saying that like, because this girl was arguing with her, well, not arguing, but talking to her about like her significant other, and was like, well, he'll just like say something or whatever, with like any explanation or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And like, I want him to go into this deep explanation, blah, 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 whatever. And then she said, Pearl was like, that's how a woman would handle a situation. She was like, the way guys operate, most guys, like any operation or anything that they've thought about it, tooth and nail, left and right, up and down, left and right. And they've already calculated everything. And what they telling you, or what they are relaying to you is like all of that done already. And that what they give you is what they give you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's just how men operate. Well, but like when you reverse that and try to get them to do that, whatever. Yeah. You're expecting them to operate how a typical female will operate. And it's like, how is that fair that you're having him trying to get him to operate the way you operate when you guys are completely different? Yeah,
there's that disconnect. So there's that the meme of women when they tell you their problems. Guys are thinking of 1,000 different solutions to that problem so that they aren't having a problem anymore. But, the women are like, we don't want that. We just want to talk about our problems. Yeah. So there's, people talk about that online, and people go in on guys like, we just want to talk about it. And guys go in on women. They're like, but why? Just let us solve it.
I got into a conversation with G about that, because she was like, she texted me one day and was like, having a bunch of guy friends. Guys don't just let me bitch about it. Y'all just like, ABC. Done.
Because it gets old quick. You don't want to hear just somebody just every day the same problem. Like I understand it's therapeutic, but at a certain point with guys, it's like, shut up, dog. Just go fix it.
Fix it. Like, take the headphone on. Like, yeah, all right. Tell her to fuck off. All right, bye.
It's funny. It's got a good explanation for it. It's got good logic for it. Like, imagine if we were talking about a problem, like men, right? And the problem was a tiger that wanted to eat us all. You don't think we just sit around and just go like, oh man, that really sucks. Like, that tiger is really out of pocket, man. That tiger, God, let me tell you about that tiger right now. We wouldn't do that. We'd be like, we need to either kill or escape from this damn thing.
Yeah. There's only a certain amount of choices we have here.
Yeah.
Let's commit to one of them. Shit. Let's do it.
You know, and like evolutionarily, that is the place that men had in their society.
Yes.
And the ones who were able to kill the tiger, you know, were the ones who
that's where we came from.
And that's where we came from.
Yeah.
But unlike the social side, when you are, you know, like running a civilization, you've got the emotional connections that we have that create civilizations and societies and stuff. That would be where like the women shone the most. You know, like they'd be keeping everyone alive and, you know, emotionally stable. And that's where like discussing these problems would be very beneficial. You know, helping the mental health, and that's the society, the societal part of you know, civilizations, and that's where you know, I hope this doesn't sound sexist, but you know, that's where the other side of the men versus women communication thing came from, where you know, actually talking about the problem is helping solving the problem of, you know, humans, basically.
Essentially.
And that's where they would talk about, you know, obviously not like tigers trying to kill them, but other, you know, emotional stuff.
Yeah. And that's fair, because it's just, people just need to be like, and we're getting there. I hear more and more people talk about this, like, yeah, men and women are different. We've always been different. And people are becoming, I think because men are talking more about it, men are kind of giving their side of things now. And they're like, this is just who we are. Like, we, you know, there's nothing really bad about who we are. There's nothing wrong with masculinity. It's just who we are. And then we accept who you are. So as long as we can do this and we realize there's these differences, okay.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. We don't like this. Y'all like this. I think the disconnect is like, people just have to realize you can't get everything from this one person. I kind of think that.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Because it's like, me and Sophie had this conversation too. Like, that's why you need, in a relationship, you need time to hang out with the boys.
Yeah.
Or hang out with the girls. Because it's like, I'm not going to fuck you guys, obviously. I do that with her. But at the same time, it's like, these conversations like this, I can't have a bro conversation about like what men want and what men are doing and like how men thought. I can't have that with my wife.
I feel so unloved. Oh shit. But it's just like it is what it is, and it's like the thing they talk about, like we have like multiple soulmates or whatever. It's like, you know, you have the actual lover soulmate for you have like a friend soulmate and like a, I don't know, fucking dog or whatever it is. I don't know the definition, like the complete definition of it, but it's like, yeah, you can't get everything from one person, and when you expect to get like everything from one person, it's like, that is a lot to ask. Especially, it's like, you know, we're in an age where like everyone has some type of trauma, and like, you know, you may not be completely confident or comfortable with yourself because like you haven't worked through all of your stuff. So you're expecting someone to like balance themselves and figure everything in there out, figure all your stuff out, and figure your stuff out together as a couple. It's like, that's a fucking lot to ask of a person of any sex.
I mean, dude, like, this stuff's so hard because we're trying to strike a balance on it, because for like the last forever, the whole goal has been like, oh, men need to be more in touch with their feminine side, which to a degree, I think that's true. But then there hasn't really been like a sort of push for just men to just enjoy man things. Like, you know, they want us to communicate more. I think that's great. I think communication's great for everybody.
Right.
But there's a such thing as oversharing too. Because honestly, attraction is a really big part of relationships, and for relationships to last, there does have to be that level of attraction. And when it comes to men's emotions, that I think that's a scary thing for women that they haven't come to terms with, because they want us to express more emotions. But I've heard guys say, a lot of guys, honestly, that when they show more of that emotional side, they end up over time losing their partner. Yeah. Because their partner just couldn't handle that valve of emotion. Even though they asked for it, they asked to get this from them. They want them to be more sensitive. But when it came time to it, the refrain was, man the fuck up.
Yeah. And it's and that's the narrative. And that's the narrative, like, we've, like, our whole lifetimes, it's like man the fuck up. And, like, my new spin on that or whatever is, like, I do subscribe to the man the fuck up, but only in the sense of, like, not everyone deserves to see you cry. Like, I think that's a better way of putting that. It's because, like, with anyone, it's like, because with, like, from a woman's point of view, if you're in a woman and you're in an argument with a man and the woman starts crying, that from that moment the man's like, either I won. Like, you started crying, so, like, whatever, fuck it, you started crying. So whatever you say, everything else is invalid after that.
What, if the woman starts crying?
Yeah, because, like, if you arguing with a woman or whatever and she started crying, it's like either your mindset goes to, like, oh shit, I fucked up, she's crying, or she started crying, so, like, whatever she talks about now is invalid. But it's like, but as a guy, if you're in an argument, you start crying, she's gonna be like, yuck.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, yuck. But that's what I'm saying about, like,
there's so much of that biological, like, hypocrisy in everybody that's the stuff that really upsets me. Because, like, the message makes sense for guys to, like, make for a better society, but there's so much of that biological hypocrisy that, like, if you show too much emotion, like you said, yuck.
And did you know it is actually literally,
it's physical? Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. But that's the thing. Like, nobody wants to come to terms with that. People think, like, we're only these, ooga boogas. No, they think we're just these intelligent, beings that don't have this biological drive. Like, men's sex drive, for instance, is completely demonized. Honestly, a guy who doesn't cheat doesn't get enough praise for not cheating. There's so much we have to do to deny this drive we have to not do stupid shit, and guys don't get any sort of reward for it.
So I saw a scientific study about that or whatever, right? It said, like, biologically, men can have 17 partners.
Yeah.
17? 17?
Yeah.
That is a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
But it's like, on the other side of that, women can only truly be sexually attracted to, like, one man after a certain point, like, after whatever chemical, like, love and however they explain love, whatever. Women go to, like, one man, but, like, men can, like,
I mean, Johnny Appleseed, bro, we filled with.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like it's because, like, the biological. Because, like, I started looking into, like, because I was wondering why, like, throughout history, like, all these kings have had, like, a wife, a mistress, a concubine, a side piece. That side piece has a side piece, and it's just like,
that's
goddamn.
That's what I'm coming to terms with. Like, I understand. I'm a progressive sort of person. I think history needs to move forward. But as I get older, I am starting to see things were in place in the past to alleviate certain issues that when you get rid of it, now you have this issue that you don't want it to have anymore. That, for instance, like that whole, concubine, mistress, wife thing. Yeah, that's what will make a man happy. That will make the woman happy. Like, she'd be mad because but in terms of, like, if you rather him have a concubine than having sex with somebody else who's not
it wherever.
Yeah. It's like it's the devil, right? So, like, because if your dude's fucking Sally or whatever, or Ashley or whatever, he's fucking Ashley. Yeah. But it's like, he's not fucking Janet, Aisha, and Keisha over there. He's like, you ain't worried about him everywhere, because he's like, he's going down the hall to fuck the maid or whatever. You know what I mean?
But my whole thing is like, okay, you don't want me to fuck nobody else. That's fine. But treat this like the big deal that it is. Because my natural biology wants me to,
inseminate everything.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And if I'm an attractive dude that women are, like, throwing themselves at, Please reward me for my chasteness.
I love that. Inseminate everything.
But why? Like, that's what it is. Because I mean, like, you look at it. We're mammals, right?
Yeah.
Every other mammal,
Nothing
what do they
mammals.
do? Every other
Stick it wherever.
Every other mammal would literally just like any female that is around getting their cheeks clapped.
Oh man.
And that's just, it is what it is. Like every other mammal does that, but it's like humans subscribe to this monogamy. Yeah. And it's like when you subscribe to monogamy and try to be the best man you can, but on the other side of that, it's like, yeah, good job. And it's like, no, like, I'm not.
Good job. That's what's expected of you.
That's what's expected. Which is,
I mean,
fair. But it's like if you're because like, if your sex drive is like 100, whatever, and her sex drive is like 60, 70, if you don't act on the extra 30, 40%, and you're like slowly dying inside,
that too.
there's no outlet for you.
That
and then
too.
if you cheat, you're a demon. Like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
there's no reward.
There's no reward for it.
There's no reward.
And you just take the L over and over again.
Yeah. So, and that's a consideration that a lot of women don't consider either. And men are typically, like good men anyway, they're very sensitive to the fact that their wife, their body changes, their mood changes, they got biological things that, happen every month. And it changes in kids. Kids change like the sex drive.
Right.
They change all that stuff. And good men are sensitive to this and they're very accommodating to this. But it doesn't go both ways in a lot of cases where, if you ain't having sex, you're still expected to not have sex. If the wife can't have sex, you can't have sex either. But that's never like rewarded. There's never like a man, you're such a good guy, you haven't cheated on me day. For good guys who just don't do it, you just don't get nothing for it. You don't get rewarded for it, man.
You just take the L for it. You just take the L,
and you just gotta sacrifice so much. But
what do you want? A medal? A parade?
Something.
I'll give you a cookie.
Because naturally, what I want to do, because I always want to have sex. I'm a man. I always want to fucking have sex. If I'm not having sex,
what am I doing with my life?
Naturally, I'm gonna go cheat.
Nah.
That's the natural, take out all morals.
Literally natural.
If you take out all morals.
If you take out all morals, there ain't no such thing as cheating.
Right. But I mean, you think at a chemical level, chemical DNA can't do shit about a level. It's like, if I'm not having sex with you, I need to be having sex with someone else.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about chemicals and stuff now, but we're trying to justify morals with chemicals.
I just want to reward. Right? I just want to reward for being a monk and controlling all this.
You get a wife,
bruh. She get a husband.
Yeah.
You get a wife.
She get all the advantages of having a husband. So
that is the only thing that she can actually offer you in reward for your fidelity. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. Is love. That's all she's got to give you. And
love ain't get my dick wet.
All right, well, you know
Jesus.
What?
Jesus.
You know what?
Now you became the villain.
You know what? Happy spouse, happy house, right?
Nah, that's
what it takes to keep you interested, then
no, it's not.
No, it's just a touchy subject that it's been coming up because it's like one of those things where like it's always looking at like the like women and like how the patriarchy and like all of these things, whatever, but it doesn't look at the male side of things. Whereas it's like we say about the faithful man, you're just a faithful man, but it's like the guy that cheats all the time, the same time he's getting his cake and eating too. Because like realistically, that guy that cheats all the time, he's clapping his girl's cheeks, her friend's cheeks, and someone else's cheeks, and like more than likely his girl gonna take him back.
So like we've got a society that's based on Judeo-Christianity, which is to say monogamy, and the society that we have, it just doesn't support what we're talking about right now. Like just sticking it anywhere. That's just not how our society is made.
Oh no, it supports it because we're sliding into that because marriage is like pretty much a sham now. So we're pretty much sliding into the whole polygamy thing because like a bunch of dudes are smashing everybody, and that's now the question is that people are asking women like, are you okay with sharing? That's the question that's being asked nowadays. Did you want an average guy, or do you want to share like this amazing man?
I'm just saying, like, if you guys are fine with the idea of open relationships, then there'd be no problem. There'd actually be no issue in this whole conversation. You just agree with your partner that you go out, stick it in a few certain certified places that's agreed with the partner, and you just go and you have your cakes and you eat it too, and there's no problem. Now you just got to make sure that you actually are truly okay with the idea of open relationship. And if you are okay with the idea and with the ramifications that come afterwards, basically, like you said, having to share, there'd be no issue. You'd be able to go and sow your oats, obey your genes, quench your thirst, Mountain Dew, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting looking at like polygamy or like open relationships, whatever. Because like I know a few people that are like subscribe to it, and it's an interesting conversation because you get like all forms of it, because it's like you get the people that are like innately jealous, or like people that, because it's like it's multiple layers, right? Because you can do it like it could be just like a primal need, right? Like you just have a couple people you call up and they're just booty calls. You got your couple people, it's like my wife said I can step out, blah blah blah, couple smashes here and there, call it a day. But other people that have like, which I think is the more, I don't want to say political way, but the way that makes more sense. Besides, because like having multiple relationships sounds stressful.
That's difficult.
Stressful. Like the people that have like multiple wives, whatever. It's like I love Sophie, and like we have a pretty easygoing relationship like between the two of us. Like we have our rough spots like anyone does, but it's like I don't want to put that effort in with like 3 or 4 people. Yeah, because my thing is like, all right, so you work, let's say normal guy, you work your 8-hour shift or whatever, you come home, you have your kids, you deal with your kids, you have dinner, you hear about your wife's day, you guys have your little chit chat or whatever, you do that, you relax however you relax that evening or whatever, and then you got to do that again.
It's impossible unless you're still like a compound or something. Then you got all your families in the compound.
Oh no! Don't say compound.
I know that's what it is. That's what it is.
Because it's not a mansion until you have enough money. Like if you're not making millions, it's a compound.
Don't say compound. Don't say commune.
No, if you got houses, around your house, that's basically a compound or a commune.
I'm not comfortable with this anymore.
Hey, I'm very comfortable with this conversation.
Damn, what was that face, Breezy?
It's an interesting conversation. Joseph Smith.
Yo, I don't want to make any smoke. All right.
I don't want no smoke with Joseph Smith, though. And none of his homies, you know what I'm saying?
Golden tablets. That dude, come on. All right. Okay.
All right.
But it's I don't know. But like going back to our original point, though, like I do think, like what Breezy said earlier about the men are speaking up more about like what they want and like what's going on in their minds about things.
Yeah,
is like a positive step in the right direction.
Yeah,
but I think too we need to understand that like innately, all the way down to like our DNA, men and women are different. Yeah, and like with anything that's different, like you need to understand the differences to become better, to be better together, because it's like we're never going to be the same, we're not going to communicate the same, we're not going to exist the same, we're not going to do things the same. Like we're different beings, but it doesn't mean we can't coexist and do things together.
We're supposed to coexist.
Yeah,
that's how we're built,
and we're supposed to we're literally built to balance each other, like balance each other out,
and it's perfect. When it works, it's absolutely perfect.
Absolutely, one idiot.
And it's like I was thinking about earlier, like gender roles, like the old school gender roles. Like the wife's at home with the kids, cooking, cleaning, man goes out to work, whatever. So like I took that and like applied it to like mine and Sophie's life. And it's like the gender roles still exist, but they're not necessarily gender roles. They're just like, we call them partner roles. Yeah. And it's like the things you do in your relationship that the other person not necessarily like maybe not do or not do as often, whatever, but you're supposed to balance each other out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for instance, it's like when it comes to taking care of Emma, Sophie does like, I'll say probably 70% of that. Yeah. And I do the 30%.
Yeah.
And it's like, other days I do like 60%, 50% of that, and she does 50% of that. It's just like, that's how that balance works. When it comes to cooking, I do more of the cooking. She does more of the cleaning. It's like, it's not the gender roles and like man and woman. It's like the Mark and Sophie roles and how we mesh together. And it's like, I wish people would stop thinking about it as like gender specific roles and thinking about it as like you and your partner. Like, what do you do? Yeah. What does your partner do? What do you guys not do? What does the other person do?
Though. You have a built-in advantage. You play Final Fantasy, so you know how to switch job roles really easily. So I think more people just need to play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, or just like or the biggest thing too is like being a sibling is one. A good sibling, because it's like, yeah, you gonna fight with your siblings, but like understanding like when your sibling is like feeling some type of way or not feeling some type of way, because like you should be able to like know your sibling well enough to like, hey, you know, they're not having even if they're not tell you have a good day, they're not having a good day, you should be able to do it. Being on like a sports team of any kind, or like being on like any type of group of any kind, being a leader of any kind. It's like all of these things that like translate over to like just being a good partner, or just having close friends. You know what I mean? Like we take, like, depending on the project or depending on what we're doing, like one of the other one, you might be the leader that day. I might be the leader. Ryan might be the leader. Like, you know, whatever the project is, whoever has like the most information on it, they take point. And I think too, a lot of people, like, they come with the aspect of like, they both want to be the alpha or they both want to take lead. And it's like, sometimes you like, gotta take a step back. Like you can't lead if you don't learn to follow. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to like humble yourself and realize like your own like weaknesses to make them strengths, or like your own strengths to like, you know, to better and strengthen your relationship. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people, like, it necessarily isn't like the man versus woman thing. It's just like the strength versus weakness things. Like you don't understand what your weaknesses are, and you're projecting your weaknesses onto your partner, and that's becoming an issue instead of just like realizing that like, maybe I'm just not that good at that, and I should just let them take care of it. And then like I can ask them like what they do, how they do this, or watch how they do this, so that like I can better myself in that aspect, so they don't have to do that all the time. Because one aspect of that is like, for the majority of our relationship, she's done the grocery shopping. That's just like how it was, because her mom did the grocery shopping, and like, you know, it's just kind of like how our relationship played out or whatever. But then one day, like a month or two ago, she texted me and she just like, she was overwhelmed. She's like, I couldn't do it with Emma, with work and everything. So, and I was just like, all right, I do the grocery shopping. Yeah. I'm like, I'm a chef. Like I've been cooking for a long time. Like grocery shopping is easy. Yeah. And it's like one of those things, it's like, it's kind of my fault as well. It's because like I should have seen her being overwhelmed and asked her like, what can I do to like ease up that load on her? Yeah. At the same time, it's like, she told me that she needed something taken off of her load. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's easy. And I'm like, more people need to fucking do that. Like, yeah, just ask your partner if you can do something for them. Like, can I help you? Yeah. Do you need help with something? Like, can I take something away from you to like add it to my plate? And, like, because you don't realize like something super fucking simple. Like, it takes me an hour to go grocery shopping, but it's like that's so much stress off of her, because like our minds work different. Like I have a restaurant brain, so like I see something, I can see like the spider webs of what I can make to make a recipe or whatever. Mm-hmm. In her mind, she doesn't have that chef brain, so it's like she needs to like have a recipe, or she needs to like have a complete plan before she goes in the grocery store. Right. So it's just mentally a lot more space taken up versus like what it does for me. Right. And it's like, people need to realize that like we're different. Like every individual person different. Like the amount of memory that it takes for you to fucking do something is different than it is for the other person.
100%. Yeah. 100%. No, relationship stuff is really cool, because and the fact that it's changing too, that's kind of where my, like, because I don't know, it's like a brand new, it's not like it was even when I was younger. Even when I was like a teenager, stuff's way different from me. Because honestly, even like if I look at it for myself, like I don't see a future like married to one person, which is crazy, because when I was a kid, that's all I wanted, was to marry one person for the rest of my life. But like I feel like even if I find somebody and marry that person, I'm gonna sound like a doomer here. I feel like if I find that person and marry that person, eventually we're gonna get a divorce, because relationships just don't fucking last nowadays. So like the way I see it is, we ain't here for a long time, we're here for a good time. So like I think that's kind of how my brain's working. Like, it's,
oh man, you know, the shit that we go through when we grow up seeing like relationships turn out that way, we tend to think that it's just a matter of time until ours do it too. And that's how I feel. You know, my parents' relationship didn't work out, so I'm like, you know, I don't want that smoke. Yeah. So I'm not gonna.
But it's even like, it's making me rethink stuff, because it's like, why do people get divorced all the time? Like, people just like, it's a lot of reasons, but essentially people just like fall out of love or whatever.
I think more of it is like they don't want to put up with the effort because like having a relationship is a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work on like even a day-to-day level. And it's like I think just people just either it wasn't really love in the first place or they just don't want to do the work. Cause like love is work. You know what I mean? And it's like, especially like a partner love, like bro love, that shit ain't work. I mean, just don't be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's easy. But like actually like loving a partner is a very different world. And I don't think a lot of people are ready for it. And like we were talking about earlier, it's like for trauma, like people don't have like, because like a couple years ago, I looked into like the love language. Do you guys know your love language?
I don't know. I don't really care either.
See, I thought that too, but then I looked into it, and it's just like the reason I personally think love language are important because they're like, if you understand like how you receive love or how you want to receive love and show how you give love, it makes it a lot easier to have those conversations with people. So it's like you got acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts. I forget the other ones, but it's like. For mine's is gifts, and it's like I can trace it back to like me and my mom when I was younger. Like me and my mom, we're not like big I love you people, big huggy people, big like none of that lovey dovey shit. We just never were. So like, what would she do? Like if we got into an argument, or whatever, or like something happened with us, like my mom like buy me like a Snickers and like my favorite drink, and that was just like her apology, whatever. And it's like I adopted that because like that's how my mother showed me love, and like I appreciate that. And so like. I tend to buy gifts for people, even if they don't want gifts. Like that's just how I express my love. Yeah. And it's like with Sophie, it's like we came to a point where like she was pretty much like, I don't feel like you say I love you enough. And I was like, I don't, because I don't say it. Like, I know I don't say it enough because I don't say it. But I'm like, I buy you stuff. Like this is how I show you love. But then like she was like, well, mine's is like words of affirmation and like acts of service is another one. Yeah. So it's like she needs to hear that I love you to know I love you. And I was like, me, you can just buy me a fucking candy bar and I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like those like learning the love languages was important because it's like it shows you like how you express love to people and like so you can understand. And it just helped me better understand myself. Is like, that's why like all these fucking pop figures and shit around here. Like I love like showing a little bit of love to myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I don't give a shit about it, because it's like
absolutely agree.
That stuff you pick up anyway. That stuff, if you in tune with your partner, you're gonna figure out what they like and what you like about them.
You would be surprised because it's like
because the stuff you're saying is stuff that naturally you pick up. Like if you give somebody a gift, they like it.
I mean,
you go give them more gifts.
I understand what he means, that because of the way that you were raised, you'll be more in tune with one language, even without realizing it. You will default to one method of showing love, even without knowing it. Because with me, I'm pretty sure it's acts of service. Like, I don't say shit ever. You're not getting any I love yous from me. But if you like need something, like, yo, man, I need.
But that's weird though. Why would you not tell your partner you love them?
You see, that's what I mean by default. It's like it's.
But it's like default. Common sense though. Like when you're with somebody,
I don't believe in common sense.
But
common sense is actually relative to the person.
I guess so, because you're with somebody. It's Valentine's Day. I love you. Here's a gift. You want to go somewhere. You want a back rub. Isn't that like 4 love languages? What's
that is 4 segs.
No, that's probably another one.
No, that's probably the back rub.
But that's 4 fucking love languages. Why do I need a book to tell me that they?
But Breezy, you have to realize too, like you are more intelligent than the average person.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's a love language thing too. Is
Nah, that's just facts. You're too smart, you dumb shit.
That's what I mean. Like, so like it's like these are because you got to think about it. Think about the random bro that came to GameStop when we were, back in the day, or the random person you talked to at Sears back in the day. It's like that dude don't know what the fuck his wife want. He just got married because he got married.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? It's
that's
like
wild.
But it's like because I mean, like I've talked to people about love language, and they're just like, oh yeah, you know what? My wife did have sex with me after that time. I did some wash the dishes and took the kids to bed or whatever. And I was like, yeah, it's probably acts of services. She like, and he's like, yeah, you know what? Her mom and her dad never did shit for her when she was a kid. And I was like, that's crazy. So her parents never did nothing for her. So when you do stuff for her, she feels loved. And it's like, that's crazy, bruh.
Wild. I didn't know it was like
It's
that.
wild. That's what I'm saying. You were intelligent. Like, you're a writer. So, like, you write these different characters that have all these different personalities.
Valentine's Day, though. Like,
I mean, like, not
that's
just
a day, though.
Valentine's
You gotta
Day.
think about, because, like, that's a good example. But it's like, if you just do that on Valentine's Day, what you do on the other 364 days?
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you do
Val-
all these things. Why not do those things on other days, too?
Like, on Valentine's Day, you're expected to do A, B, C, and D.
Right.
You know? So it doesn't really even mean something special when you do them.
I got a beef with Valentine's Day.
It's basically you doing your homework.
Because Valentine's Day is a holiday made for bum ass niggas.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because, like, if you are a good man and a good person, your expectation level is like the maximum level. But if you just a bum ass nigga, you can buy her like a flower and you get the same, you get the busted ass like Kroger flowers, and you get the same like, oh my god, I love you, as the same dude that's bought like a diamond necklace, the bouquet of roses.
Yeah, bruh. That shit out of pocket.
That shit is out of pocket.
But
throwback.
Last episode.
Yep.
But like if you were to randomly happen some other day, like some dude, let's say one of your bros is they're looking down, and you want to cheer him up, and you decide to do something to cheer him up. Yeah, it's like, what sounds right? Or I put this another way, right? You don't know what someone wants for their birthday, so you get them like a practical item. You can get them an impractical item. You can take them out somewhere, or you can just chill with them. Like, what do we do for Alex on his birthday?
Movies.
We just go to the movies and
chill out.
Pizza,
right?
Yeah.
None of us got him a damn gift.
Right. He would like a gift too.
Yeah,
he would like a gift.
Like, usually, I would get him I'd give him a damn PS4 controller or a PlayStation card.
Runs through them bitches.
Yeah. Those sound like gifts, right? But to me, they're actually practical items for his case, because he always got broken controllers. And I'm like, yo, man, I know he needs a controller, so I'm gonna give him a controller because I think that's what he like for his birthday, and that shows my mindset.
Yeah,
right. And it's like, I actually, I wasn't gonna share this, but I got you a gift for your birthday. Should be coming in soon. And when you actually see what it is, right?
That's the exact reason why
you're gonna go like, oh, all right, I got you a gift. Yeah. What do you think it's gonna be? Do you think I'm gonna get you a practical item? You think I'm gonna get you an impractical item? Think I'm gonna take you out somewhere or something, or just chill?
Something that's both useful and fun, but also troll-tastic. Something you can also get enjoyment out of.
Right. So impractical. I vote for impractical item.
Impractical.
Right. Okay. That's all right. So I got you that impractical Christmas gift that one time.
Did.
Mm-hmm. That
game was interesting.
The game wasn't even the gift.
Yeah. It was the years of packaging I had to go through.
The gift.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what language that gift was. Okay, so for the people listening, for one of his Christmas gifts, oh crap, I remember I went really deep into this one.
Yeah.
Right. Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
So I couldn't think of what to get for Mark, because Mark has fucking everything. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, damn it.
So instead of getting him anything good, I'm going to get him this shitty game that I found in a bargain bin in Meijer, right? I'll take the game. It was a Nintendo Switch game, by the way. I took it, cut it open, took the cover art out, photoshopped a new Nintendo Switch cover art for Halo 2, and put that into there, wrapped it back up. And then I put the game inside of a bag that I wrapped in wrapping paper. And I took the bag inside of another bag that I wrapped in wrapping paper, and I put that in a box, wrapped it, and I put that in a bigger box, and then in a bigger box, and then in a bigger box. I remember it was 7 total.
Layers of hell.
I wrapped them all individually, and I gave it to him. I also weighted the box down with paper, and I made this brace so that he wouldn't be able to shake it to find out what it was.
It was a piece of ingenuity, trolling ingenuity. It was
genius,
and I gave it to him, and all of that was the gift. All of it. The whole thing was just a giant spectacle.
It was a gift for me. That was very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Watching Mark tear through each layer.
This is terrible. But we also have, tell you guys, we have a rule amongst our friendship is that like if someone buys you any form of media, a video game, movie, anything like that, you either have to play it or watch it, at least for a little bit to get the gist of what it is. So I played this game and it was like a asymmetric top-down shooter with RPG elements, and the main characters was a goose and a warthog. Anthropomorphic goose and a warthog.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I just don't know what to say. It was a game.
It was. Yeah.
That was, what was that called?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
It's Halo 2, apparently.
Yeah, Halo 2. For the Nintendo
Halo 2
Switch.
for the Switch is what it was. The greatest game never played.
I wonder if I still have the cover art for that.
Yeah, because you had like something funny on the back of it too. I forget what
It's probably over there with my Switch games. I'm pretty sure I kept it over there. I think it still should be the Halo 2 over there.
Yeah, I think it'll be the only Halo 2.
Yeah, I mean, it should be on the only Halo 2 over there. Because my Xbox games aren't over there anymore. Oh, man. Oh, this is kind of a long one. But before we end the show, I want to talk about my Mega Chad Dad / Grunkle Uncle.
Nice.
So it's been kind of a swing and a miss. I'm like 50-50 with it.
Okay.
So I mean, like, I'm more proud of myself because I'm like, you know, it was definitely more than what I was doing, but I definitely would like to do more. So it is good. It is good motivation seeing like the X's and the check marks on the calendar.
Okay.
And for those that missed it or new to the show, I said I wanted to drink the gallon of water a day and do like 2 hours of work for either school or for the podcast or for like our other projects or just stuff around the house. Just like 2 hours of like bettering myself, I guess, is what it bottles down to. And then just drinking more water and eating better. Okay. And so like, yeah, it's been like the weekends are hard. The weekends are hard because like Sophie's home on the weekends in the mornings. Like she's at home on the weekends and I'm at home in the mornings. So we usually just like, that's like our DoorDash day because we're just like, yeah, whatever. We're hanging out with Emma. I think neither one of us wants to cook, so we usually get something on DoorDash, whatever. And it's like I'm just enjoying the day, so like I'm not worried about like healthy or whatever. But like during the week, pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, the weekends are kind of ass. But like, you know,
that's probably how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna join you on that because it's a lot of stuff I want to do, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a step back from work. I was talking to Ryan about it. A little bit of a step back from work and then take 2 hours a day to do productive things. I'm gonna save editing for the end of the week and the weekend, but for the start of the week and some of my weekend time will be spent 2 hours not editing and 2 hours doing other stuff.
Doing stuff, man.
But also I'm gonna start jump roping in the garage.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of something like I was good at as a kid, and I can't. Like I tried to do it as an adult. Yeah, I just put it on because I was embarrassed with myself.
I got an athletic jump rope because I had one that was like soft and it was okay, but my rhythm was totally off.
Yeah, I got a couple weighted ones.
Yeah, I was trash as a kid at it, so I'm pretty sure I'm pretty awesome now.
You're probably better at it now. I used to be bad as a kid at it, but now I'm okay.
Yeah, it's exactly opposite. Like I was a beast, like running championships and stuff in like elementary school. Yeah, like now I'm just like,
I could do that shit on one player, let alone when other people were.
Oh, I used to love it. Like the
double dutch.
Double dutch. Like took me a minute to get it down, but like the just doing it with like people. Like I was always like the last one to be in there when they're doing it.
I couldn't do double dutch, but I was such a class clown that I would like to get in there and mess it up on purpose.
Damn.
Just tangle it all up.
Yeah. See, that was interesting. I was like the class clown, but also athletic. So it was always a good time. They're like, oh, Mark's getting serious now. Oh. And I'm like, yeah, but whatever. It's cool. I guess that's our cue to exit.
We covered everything, man.
Yeah, we went around. We went a roller coaster of a ride. You know, we had another episode talking about the differences in men and women, which I'm sure will pop up like more as we get deeper into it. You know, we talked about our plans for the future. So again, thank you guys as always for coming up, spending time with us. It's an hour and a half today. Normally we have an hour. Find us, of course. We're on YouTube now consistently. we got this stuff fixed or figured out with our camera and stuff. So we'll see you guys on YouTube and like wherever you get your podcasts at. So make sure you just come hang out with us every Wednesday. And we're going to do the bonus episodes. Don't know when. We haven't figured that out yet. But we'll let you know, I guess. If not, I mean, they're there. Just find them, I guess. They'll be there. So may your bed stay warm, your pillow stay cold.
All right. Stay perfect, chat.
Peace, everybody.
The answer is Jersey. It's a Jersey. Completely forgot about it. Have fun putting this in, right?
Yeah.